Everybody, happy Friday. Welcome to yet another Leader Factor Live. I'm coming to you by myself today. Dr. Clark is in Brazil with a client. It's been very fun to see that international influence and the four stages go to the corners of the earth. So, today we're going to be talking about something very interesting. We're going to be talking about how psychological safety operationalizes cultural transformation. That might sound like a mouthful, but when we typically talk about cultural transformation, it's a very daunting thing. It's this amorphous thing that takes a really long time. We're not quite sure what all of the inputs are. We're not entirely sure what we need to do in a practical sense and what the path looks like. So we're going to be talking about that today, along with a couple other things. So let me give you a brief rundown on what we're going to be talking about. We'll probably go for between 20 and 30 minutes. So thank you for hopping on and spending a few minutes with us today. So first thing I want to mention is the ebook. So let me show you what this looks like. If you haven't had a chance to get the ebook, we would highly recommend it. I know we've plugged this a couple times. Looks like we've got Jamie from Northern Colorado. We've got Paramit. I'm hoping I'm getting that right from the UK. I'm probably not getting that right. But let us know where you're from. So if you're on the stream on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, go ahead and let us know. We've got Belgium as well. Thank you all for making the time. This is fantastic. Chile. Look at that. 4 comments, 4 countries. Wisconsin. Excellent. Canada. Bonjour. Mohammed. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Okay, so the ebook, if you haven't had a chance to read it, go ahead and check that out. It's 30 pages, and we try to answer the question, what is psychological safety? So we've got a couple moderators. I'll have our team put that in the chat in all those platforms so you can go ahead and check it out. Go ahead and share it with your colleagues, anyone that you think might find it interesting. It's a pretty thorough treatment of that question. And in being thorough, I think we're also pretty succinct. What is psychological safety? It's an environment of rewarded vulnerability. So we go ahead and answer that question along with a map of the 4 stages and give you an outline. So if you've read the book, it's still relevant. If you haven't read the book, this will be a great way for you to decide if the book is something for you. Okay, I wanted to talk for just a second about an upcoming article. I'd be interested in if this is something that you would find engaging or something that you would read. So we are in the process of publishing our latest HBR article regarding psychological safety and the agile transformation. If you weren't with us during that webinar, we talked about psychological safety and its relationship to the agile movement. The agile movement has had so much steam and it's been around for a good while now and has really transformed the way that we do things. But many agile transformations fail. Many organizations that claim to be agile are agile in name only. And we go into why is that the case? What are the failure patterns? And why is psychological safety the antidote to fix a lot of the problems that occur with agile transformation? So that's going to be coming out in HBR. So just keep an eye out for that. The next thing we're going to be talking about today is that operationalization. That's a big one. Operationalization of cultural transformation. So we're going to be talking about that. We'll pipe in Dr. Clark from Brazil. If he's got a good enough connection, we're going to give it a try. And then from there, Tim, is that you? Tim, can you hear me? It looks like Tim, we can see Tim, but I don't know if Tim can see us. So we'll give him a couple seconds to get his connection sorted out if he can hear us. And if he can, a little bit later in the live, we'll hear from him. The bandwidth and all this stuff across countries, as you know, can be kind of a difficult thing. We're going to be doing the giveaway, and I'm sure that that's why many of you are here today. We launched a big giveaway in our live last week regarding the team transformation and signed copies of the book. So we're going to be announcing those winners. So stay tuned through the end. Don't worry, we're not going to keep you around all day. As I mentioned, we're probably going to be in that 20-minute range. So if you could hang on till then, we would love your engagement. And then we will announce those winners. We got a lot of really good engagement during that giveaway and hope that you all found value in doing that and sharing some of that content. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next section here, and we're going to talk about the mechanism to transform culture. So many of you have probably heard our definition of psychological safety, which I mentioned just a couple minutes ago. Psychological safety is an environment of rewarded vulnerability. If you take nothing else away from today's Leader Factor Live, know that that is the definition of psychological safety, about as succinctly as we can put it: an environment of rewarded vulnerability. So, how do you get low psychological safety? Punished vulnerability. It all hinges on this idea of vulnerability and whether or not that is rewarded or punished. So, I would love to hear from all of you in the chat. I would love to come up with a list of some acts of vulnerability. So, go ahead and put it in the chat, regardless of the platform that you're on. What are some common acts of vulnerability that we engage in all the time? Go ahead and put those in. They could be simple, they could be complex, they don't need to be gargantuan acts of challenging the direction of the organization. They could be just very simple. So let's go ahead. Okay, here are some good ones. We've got asking a question. Christiane, admit mistakes. I hope I'm getting your name right. I'm just bombing out on these names today. Some of you have difficult names, and I apologize. They're probably simple where you are, but for me, some of these are difficult. Asking for help, questioning the status quo. These are great. I love asking for help. I find that to be particularly vulnerable sometimes. Looks like we've got Egypt. Thanks for tuning in from Egypt. Owning a bad communication. Love that. Honest feedback. Mohammed sharing personal stories. Christy saying, I don't know. These are all wonderful. And think about how simple some of these are. Talk about emotions, just being me. Sometimes that's an act of vulnerability in and of itself, just showing up as you are. That can be a difficult thing. Disagreeing with a manager, admitting you don't know something. Jamie, Jiley, thank you all for these comments. These are all wonderful. And we've got, all of you are from, all over the place and on a whole bunch of different platforms. Okay, so for those of you just tuning in, we're talking about vulnerability and whether or not it's rewarded or punished. Everything that you see in the chat right now are common acts of vulnerability. Asking for feedback, sharing your story. Sharon, thank you for that. Jorge being transparent, Dustin being teachable. These are all fantastic. So now that we've got a list, and keep adding to it, by the way, if you can think of more, keep adding to it. It's almost inexhaustible. These acts of vulnerability happen all the time. So now that we have this list, go ahead and read through it and ask yourself, how common are these? How frequently do they happen? Either from you or you as observer. How often do you observe these types of things? It could be someone introducing themselves to you. That's an act of vulnerability. Just for me to show up at the beginning of the day, there's someone new, and I say, hi, good morning, I'm Junior. What could happen after that? The person could very warmly greet me back and reciprocate and say, wow, good morning. It's such a pleasure to meet you. My name is so-and-so. How are you? And if that act of vulnerability from my end is rewarded by the person reciprocating, I'm more likely to engage with them in the future, continue the conversation, and develop a relationship. If I get the cold shoulder after that, what am I likely to do? Go ahead and put it in the chat. If this has happened to you before, where your act of vulnerability has been punished, it could be something as simple as that, as you introducing yourself or saying hello, and someone kind of shrugs you off and nods, and that's all. It could be something a little bit more big, a little bit more risky, where you challenge a manager. I saw that in one of the comments in here. Jamie, yeah, you shut down. So if you challenge a manager, that's pretty big, right? Let's say that you have someone above you in the hierarchy and you go right at it and you challenge. That's about as vulnerable as it gets. And what we see is this may seem like a pretty simple principle at first, but then you look at the way that it perpetuates and permeates inside an organization. So when we're talking about a larger social collective, through all of these interactions, norms emerge, a culture emerges. So these acts of vulnerability are happening all the time. Maybe there's 1,000 that happen in your office or your workplace today alone. Think of the percentage of those acts that are punished and those that are rewarded. That's a fairly good indicator of how your culture is doing. So here's just a quick tip for those of you that are, I guess I can just say, working or are professionals or really part of any social collective. I was going to say managers at first, but I think I take it back. For those of you who interact with people, I guess, if you want to get a pulse on the culture, I want you to do this. Observe for an entire day the acts of vulnerability that happen around you. And then in a tally, look at whether those are punished or whether those are rewarded. And if you have a lot of punished vulnerability check marks at the end of the day, you know that there are some areas to work on. And that is completely indicative of the health of a culture. So let me go ahead and share this screen with you, and we're going to continue to talk about vulnerability. Let's go ahead and share this guy right here. So the mechanism to transform culture, this is it, okay? Model acts of vulnerability, reward acts of vulnerability. This is about as simply as we can put it when we're talking about cultural transformation. So model acts of vulnerability, what does that mean? That means that all these things that require vulnerability that you've listed here in the chat, do more of those things. Ask more questions. I was having a conversation the other day with our head of marketing, and we were talking about advertising. And I was kind of met with this fork in the road where I could respond in one of two ways. I could have said, wow, it really is amazing how you can target with Facebook ads, isn't it? And I don't come from advertising. That's not my domain of expertise. But to engage at a perceived high level, to be, I've got some authority, I can really hang with you. I could have said something like that. Or I could have said something like, hey, will you teach me a little bit more about advertising? Will you teach me? Could you help me understand a little bit more about this? That is an act of vulnerability on my end. And what does that show? It comes with this aura of humility. And in all reality, most people are going to respond to that with, yes, absolutely, I can help you understand a little bit more. Let me teach you a little bit more about this. So if you're in a position of authority, ask for help from those of lower status. Don't come off as the all-knowing oracle at all times and the repository of all answers, because you're not. We're not. We never will be. And we probably shouldn't be. It's impossible to be. So we learn through humility by asking questions. That's an act of vulnerability that we can model all the time. Saying, I don't know. That's especially powerful if you're in a position of authority. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the answer is. What do you all think? Hey, I made a mistake on this last report. There are a few numbers that I got wrong. I'm going to own that and I apologize. That was my mistake. Okay, so that's the modeling end. Then we have rewarding acts of vulnerability. When you see the acts of vulnerability happen around you, reward them. Reward them. Understand that people are putting themselves out on a limb, and your response will dictate their future behavior. And pretty soon you punish or you reward enough times that you have a pretty ingrained culture that's hard to get out of. And if you're in a rut because vulnerability has been punished so many times, that's going to take some real effort to get out. And conversely, if you have rewarded vulnerability time and time and time again, you're likely to have a much more healthy culture. So this is really the crux of the issue, the mechanism to transform culture at a very small social collective, a group of friends, all the way to a gargantuan multinational enterprise. This is where it lives and dies if vulnerability is rewarded or punished. Okay, so let's go ahead and move to this next one and go into the team transformation giveaway. If there were some insights, by the way, that shook loose for you during the last couple minutes, go ahead and put those in the chat. I'd be interested in what your takeaway is so far based on the comments from the chat and some of the things that we have been talking about. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you how this giveaway is going to work. So the team transformation is a very, very cool product that our team has been working on for a long time, really since the book came out. Okay, so the team transformation includes survey licenses to use the 4 Stages team survey platform. It includes online courses for your entire team and a manager course for the people leader. So this is a very valuable thing. You get the pre-survey so that you can gauge a baseline for how your team is doing in psychological safety. You have this intervention of training, and then you have a retest at the end to see if you've been able to make progress. And many of you have entered this giveaway, and there are many of you here today. One of the kickers of that giveaway entry was that you need to be here in order to receive if you win. Okay, so I'm going to be calling out some names, and we're going to do the books first. So if I call your name, please let us know in the chat that you are here within 5 or 10 seconds, because I can't spend a tremendous amount of time on this. So if I read your name, please let us know, and we'll have the moderators go ahead and give me the thumbs up that you're here and that we can go to the next one. Okay? All right. So the first winner of a signed copy of the book is Wagyu Abbas. I'm not sure if I'm getting that right. Wagihabbas. If you are here, please let us know. Okay. I'm going to go to the next couple winners, and if they're not here, we'll go ahead and continue. We've got Jennifer Oswald and Chris McLaughlin. If you are here, please let us know, and we will get you a copy of the book. So if you are here, go ahead and put your name in the chat. Just say something like, I'm here, and we'll make sure that we identify you. Then we'll ask you to email support@leaderfactor.com, and that will we will ask for your mailing information, make sure that we have the shipping. Hey, it looks like one of you is here. I'm so sorry that I'm probably getting your name wrong. So just know that we will get that to you. So congratulations on winning a signed copy of the book. Dr. Clark will be back in the country tomorrow. We'll sign those books and we'll get them off to you early next week. Fantastic. The next thing that we're going to do is the team transformation, and I'll come back to books, okay, if those other two are not here. Okay, drum roll for the team transformation. We have Mike Bertamini. Mike, if you are here, please let us know. Mike Bertamini, please let us know if you're here. If you are, you have won the team transformation. If Mike, are you here? I'm not sure. Hey, Ben, is Mike here? Is that why you're putting that name out there? I'm not sure. So, Mike, if you are here, please let us know. While I wait for Mike, because if Mike's not here, we're just going to continue to go down the list. So stick around, because I'm going to talk about the certification, how you can get a discount today. Not a giveaway that you have to enter, just we're going to be doing some discounting on the cert. So we'll give Mike a few seconds, and if not, we'll move to the next one. So the cert discount. Christian, if he's not, I am. Thank you for showing up. Okay, so the certification, for those of you who have been interested in the 4 stages certification, we've got 3 sessions left for the year. Oh yeah, you guys are all like, I'm here. The certification, we've got 3 dates left. I think we've got maybe 7 or 8 seats left for the October session. Maybe not even that many, I'm not sure. The November session has seats available, and the December session. We've sold out every session since we launched them a year and a half ago. And so we're excited to have you join those certifications. If you have been on the fence about the certification, or you're intending to register, if you email support@leaderfactor.com with the keyword vulnerability, we will give you a 10% discount today only. So if you're on this live, okay, then you can email that keyword. Tell them that Junior sent you, support@leaderfactor.com. Tell them that you're here for the certification discount and that the keyword is vulnerability, and we will give you 10% off, which ends up being a pretty good little discount. So, okay, it looks like Mike was not here. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep going down the list. So, Mike, you could have won. Let's go. Madalena, are you here? Coutinho. That would be cool, because I'm pretty sure that she is in Brazil. Madalena, are you here? Let us know. Okay, we'll give Madalena about 5 more seconds. And if not, I'm just going to keep going down the list. So thank you, everyone, for hanging in here. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Andrew Stevenson. Andrew Stevenson. Andrew, are you here? We had dozens and oh, Madalena's here. Madalena's here. And Andrew, if you're here too, we might have to just give you one too. Madalena, congratulations. I am here. Wow. Fantastic. We're so happy for you. This is a big deal. In all caps. That's fantastic. Well, everyone else, thank you for entering. We really do appreciate it. Know that you can go get that ebook for free if you haven't. And we hope that we continue to provide you value by doing these Leader Factor lives. So I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share and just talk about the last few items on my agenda. So Madalena, go ahead and email support@leaderfactor.com, support@leaderfactor.com, and we will get you all set up. One of the cool things that my team let me know about this morning is that our CMO is going to hop on the phone with you and walk you through the entire thing, support you end to end through the process. So that comes with, I can't remember what you said. I think about 10 licenses is what we went with for that team transformation. So that is deployable with a team of your choosing. 8 licenses. Ben is correcting me. So we've got 8 licenses inside that team transformation. You can use those with your direct team. You can use them with your client. You can use them internally inside your organization, depending on your application. So just let us know how you would like to do that. We will be in touch to have a conversation to get everything ready to go. So for those of you who haven't read The 4 Stages of Psychological Safety, I'm going to end with a book review from Roger. So Roger, thank you for reviewing the book. Based on my impressions of Tim Clark's previous work, I expected The 4 Stages of Psychological Safety to be excellent. It exceeded my expectations. In addition to being highly readable, this book offers a wealth of thought-provoking insight into human behavior. And given the current upheaval in our world, it could not be more timely. I wish every talking and screaming head on TV and social media would read and digest this wonderful book before launching the next barrage of uninformed and misinformed opinions. So, Roger, thank you so much. If you haven't had a chance to read the book or review the book, go ahead and check it out. We would highly, highly recommend it, and we would be very grateful for a review. And Trina, thank you for endorsing the certification. I appreciate that. Doug, thank you as well. I appreciate this community so much. Let me just tell you that, and that's probably what I'll end on. I appreciate you all very, very much, and our entire team here at Leader Factor does. What we find is that when we engage with this community, almost always the people involved care about other people. Leader Factor's mission is to influence the world for good at scale. And so that's why we do what we do. That's why we're as generous with our IP as we can possibly be, because the world needs this content. The world needs psychological safety. So thank you all for all that you do to transform your organizations. So as a takeaway from today, remember that we have been able to operationalize the transformation of culture through rewarding vulnerability. That is the mechanism. So when you're met with someone who's showing some vulnerability, don't punish them, reward them. That will dictate their future behavior, and it will dictate the quality of your relationships. Psychological safety is not just about work. It is about life. It is about becoming a better human. As you incorporate these principles, you will achieve much higher quality relationships. People will want to work with you. You'll have influence, and you'll be able to influence the world for good. That is it for today. Join us. I think probably next week. We'll announce that shortly for another Leader Factor Live. But in the absence of our webinars, we've really enjoyed engaging with you through this mechanism. So if you've liked today's stream, go ahead and leave us a comment, leave us a like, regardless of the platform you're on. We would like to know if you would like us to continue to do these Leader Factor Lives, if they're valuable to you. If they're not, we'll stop doing them. If they are, we will continue. So with that, I will sign off for today, and we will let you all go. Tim, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Anything you want to say before we hop
You can
off?
hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
I'm just here. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, let us know where you are and what you're doing.
So I'm just here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, working with Coca-Cola and learning about how important psychological safety is globally, especially in a melting pot nation such as Brazil. Psychological safety is absolutely vital. It's just absolutely incredible. I learned something interesting today, Junior, that I want to share with you.
Yeah, tell us.
So, Sao Paulo is also a state, and the state flag has black and white stripes, and those stripes represent the racial integration that has taken
Really?
place over the centuries because Sao Paulo was founded as a city in 1554, and it's one of the most, as you know, diverse cities in the world. And in many ways, they've done a great job of integrating. Well, how do you integrate? It comes back to behavior. And what behavior? It comes back to engaging in acts of vulnerability and then rewarding those acts of vulnerability, Junior, which is what you've been talking about. So we can take a lesson from the people of Brazil and the society, the integrated society that they have built. It's
Yeah,
one thing to be diverse, it's another thing to be inclusive, isn't it?
absolutely. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
very neat. I did not know that. That's news to
Yeah.
me. That's very cool. Very cool
Yeah.
fact.
It's pretty
Okay.
amazing.
The last thing that we're going to do, I almost forgot. Thank you for reminding me in the chat. There's two more books that we need to give away. So let's go down my list. Sandra Van De Kotter. Sandra, are you here? For those of you who need to jump, go ahead and jump. You don't need to stick around. But if you haven't won a book and you did enter, stick around because I might call your name. Sandra, if you're here, let us know. Edna Rodriguez. I'm just going to go through these fairly quickly, everyone. So you ought to be quick on the trigger. Sandra Van De Kotter, Edna Rodriguez, Jennifer Oswald. Jennifer, if you're here, let us know. I'm going to read like 6 more names and then we're going to do something, okay? If you're here and I read your name, let us know. Jennifer Oswald, Lisa Flinders, Brian Gay, Megan Norton, Judith Carmody, Dima Baltagi, Judith Carmody. I'm going to keep going down my bigger list, okay? And if you're here, go ahead and put that in the chat. Megan Norton, Greg Sumter, Sarah Kennedy, Ronit Ray, Sean Carney, Karen Miller. Okay, we're going to go to a different strategy. If you've stuck around to the very end, just comment what you've liked most about today, and I will pick from the list. Okay? I'll pick 2 more. What have you most liked about today's session? Put it in the chat, and I'll pick 2 of these. Greg, you got yourself a book. Okay, so Greg is a winner. Greg Sumter. Well done. Mohammed, I've seen your name in the chat as well, so you're going to get a book too. Okay, so those are our 3. The one I called originally, Greg and Mohammed. So thank you all for engaging with us today. I know we've gone a little long. We pushed up against that 30 minutes, so we're at 29 minutes and 17 seconds. I'll go ahead and sign off. Tim, thank you for piping in from Brazil. We appreciate you. We'll go ahead and catch you on the next one. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful
Yeah,
weekend.
absolutely.
Vulnerability. See you later.